Usually one visual skill leads to another, step by step as the child grows. But sometimes children miss a step or do not complete a step and must begin to perform schoolwork without an acceptable foundation of basic visual skills in place. Besides 20/20 acuity of sight, children need focusing ability, eye coordination, depth perception, eye muscle action, side vision, and ability to understand what is seen. When beginning to read, children use very fine eye control as they sound out each word letter by letter, instead of taking in several words at a glance. This near work is often hard to adapt to because human beings weren't designed to do this stressful seeing less than an arm's length away. We have hunter eyes for survival, spotting game, and avoiding enemies at a distance. Only in the last half-century have so many people been forced to deal with sustained near-visual tasks. Students now read 3 times the number of textbooks that their grandparents did. Most adults consistently use their near vision at their work and for recreational reading. Reading has always been recognized as a visual activity, but it's important to notice that all academic subjects are primarily visual activities. Since up to 80% of any individual's learning is dependent on vision, the ability to see may well affect a child's whole intelligence. What are some visual skills needed for schoolwork? Seeing clearly is only one part of visual information gathering and understanding. To read and understand, to solve math problems, or to catch and hit a baseball, a child needs not only clear sight, but much more. Besides near vision acuity and distance acuity, these are other important visual skills. Fixation, the ability to fix eyes on a series of stationary objects quickly and accurately with both eyes and at the same time know what and where the object is. This skill is used to read words, add columns of numbers, and read maps. Tracking, the ability to follow a moving object smoothly, accurately, and effortlessly with both eyes and at the same time think, talk, read, or listen. This pursuit ability is used to follow a ball or a moving person and to guide a pencil across the page. Binocular vision, the ability to team the 2 eyes together. This skill should function so there is no interference between the eyes, which results in suppressing or mentally blocking information from one eye. Suppression lowers understanding and reading speed, increases fatigue, and shortens the attention span. Adequate teaming permits efficient vision for learning. Convergence, the ability to turn the 2 eyes toward each other to look at near objects and maintain eye alignment comfortably. This means that the child can maintain attention span while looking at words at a distance. Stereopsis, the ability to see in depth, to determine relative distances between objects by looking at them from 2 different places, the 2 eyes, simultaneously. A child should be able to throw a beanbag into a hat 10 feet away by judging the visual distance and accurately controlling the arm movements required. Field of vision, the ability to see over a large area in the periphery while pointing eyes straight ahead. For safety, self-confidence, and to read rapidly, a child needs to see the big picture, to know easily where he is on a crowded playground or on a page while reading. Form perception, the ability to recognize and organize visual sensations as shapes, noticing likes and differences. The child learning to read needs to recognize the difference between was and saw, 21 and 12, or F's and P's. When we think about the steps to vision development, it becomes apparent that a child's visual age upon entering school affects his or her ability to perform. What if the child does not have the required skills? If visual skills have not been developed or are poorly developed, learning is difficult and stressful, and youngsters typically react in one or a combination of ways. They avoid near visual work entirely or as much as possible. They may attempt to do the work anyway, but with lowered understanding. They often experience discomfort, fatigue, and short attention span. They may make some undesirable adaptation, such as becoming nearsighted or suppressing the vision with one eye. Visual stress reactions can help explain the discomfort, fatigue, changes in behavior, altered eyesight, and declining academic performance, which often indicate a learning-related vision problem. Adults often take vision for granted. They just assume the child sees the textbook, the chalkboard, and the classroom demonstration adequately. Adults also assume that the child will spontaneously report any visual difficulties when reading or doing desk work. However, the child cannot compare his or her vision with others and may logically assume that all people see the world the same way. The child with a vision problem can easily assume that all other children are having the same discomfort, blurring, or doubling. It's important to realize that perception, vision, acuity, eye-hand coordination, and word span are some of the abilities that a child must learn. These are not merely characteristics that some children have if they're lucky and others do not have because they are less fortunate. Children with a slower visual development will exhibit behavioral symptoms as they try to adapt to the academic setting. Although some charts and tests screen for visual deficiencies, no test can equal the alert, informed classroom teacher. The teacher sees children involved in the academic tasks that demand visual abilities and skills, and the observed less than adequate visual performance can be used to identify children who need to be referred for professional attention. The Educator's Guide to Classroom Vision Problems provides a systematic way to document and then evaluate classroom behaviors that can be due to vision problems. Let's step through the checklist and the behavioral indicators. The checklist begins with observing the physical appearance of the eyes. As a child strives to adapt to vision-related problems, physical symptoms of stress can result. The checklist next provides for noting child-reported complaints of visual problems. Often, children will tell about their vision problems when asked how they are doing visually in a way they can understand. More often, however, children cannot compare their vision with others and simply presume their view of the world is shared by all. That's why careful observation by a classroom teacher is the most useful indicator of a vision-related cause of academic setbacks. The checklist next covers 5 areas of vision skills that are directly related to success in academic tasks: eye movement, eye teaming, eye-hand coordination, form perception, and refractive status. Under each of these headings, there are specific behaviors that are often related to difficulties in a particular area. Eye movement skills are important for the child to obtain the greatest amount of information with the least time and effort. If the eye movements are slow, clumsy, or uncoordinated, the child will miss information, lose his or her place while reading, and the attendant stress will shorten attention span on visual activities. In the classroom, the child with poorly developed eye movement abilities may turn the head in reading across the page instead of following the line with only eye movement. The child may lose the place during reading or may reread or skip lines without noticing it. Sometimes children compensate for this by using a finger or marker to keep the place. Watch for writing or drawings that are always uphill or downhill. It's difficult to orient drawings on the page or to write straight across the paper when eye movement skills are not up to par. A child with these kinds of difficulties will naturally avoid reading or copying. Human sight is designed so that the paired eyes and all their reciprocating muscles work together so the two eyes perform as one. This teaming ability is one of the visual skills that is learned and developed. If teaming does not develop adequately before a child begins school, there is an immediate and far-reaching impact on classroom work. Some behavioral symptoms of poorly developed eye teaming include complaining of seeing double or blurring if the child realizes that such vision is not the norm. The child may omit or repeat letters when writing or spelling words. Writing numbers in straight columns is difficult. Children may try to eliminate the doubling by closing one eye, covering one eye, or squinting to improve the focus. They may adopt extreme postures while at desk work, again, trying to improve the image they receive through their eyes. Academic tasks rely heavily on the integration of the hands and eyes as paired learning tools. When a child has difficulties with any of the visual skills, such as eye movement or eye teaming, it will adversely affect tasks requiring eye-hand coordination. In the classroom, the child attempts to compensate for the lack of coordination, relying more on his hands for feedback. He will often use his hands to keep his place on a page, or place his work on a page using his hands as spacers instead of his eyes. He may consistently confuse right-left directions and want to feel things to interpret them. Visual form perception is the ability to hold images in memory. This is essential for relating the symbols of pictures and words into an understandable reality. This particular skill calls upon many areas of vision development. It's apparent that the child who has a hard time visualizing or retaining images is going to confuse words, even the same word in the same sentence. We will see reversal of letters or words in writing and copying. The child's paperwork, instead of improving with practice, will continue to appear sloppy or erratic, with simple forms distorted and incorrect. Even children who test 20/20 on a wall chart may have vision problems such as farsightedness, astigmatism, or focusing problems. Watch for children who avoid all near-centered or desk tasks. To compensate for refractive problems, the child may hold the book too closely or cover one eye. He or she may squint to see the chalkboard or ask to move closer. Errors in copying is another clue. When teachers are aware of the connection between these classroom behaviors and visual development, children with a visual lag can be identified. The companion videotape, Using the Educator's Guide to Classroom Vision Problems, describes how teachers can use the checklist in the classroom. With early detection, vision problems can be treated, and these children can become confident, successful learners.